Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Unfiltered commentary. Not your truth, the real truth. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for your support. Hi, folks. Welcome back. From the Hill, Republicans standing by Trump in 2024. Most Democrats want Biden. Now, you have to know how people write, especially these political reporters. Republicans standing by Trump, most Democrats want Biden. That means the number for Democrats wanting Biden to run again is much lower than Trump's. You have to know these little small nuances that really, truly matter. Republicans are standing by former President Trump for a 2024 presidential run, while most Democrats want President Biden to run again, according to a new Politico Morning Consult poll. The poll found 60% of Democrats want Biden to run for re-election, while 69% of Republicans want Trump to take another shot at the presidency. That 60% to me is high. Were they asked if Trump was running again, would you want Biden? Or they just asked if Biden was running again, would you vote for him? And there's no Republican or generic Republican candidate. I think that 60% is actually high. With approval ratings that he has in the high 30s, Biden, that means that 60% represents all that 38% in total? I don't think so. Let's read on. A 2024 rematch does not seem to be far out of reach, as Trump has teased a 2024 bid multiple times in the last few months. I think if Biden gets out, he wins again, the end of his second term will be 82, but that's not the point. Because Trump is up there too. I think mentally and physically, he's much better than Biden. And you may not like Trump personally, but mentally, physically, and you can tell he's lost some weight recently. I think he's learning from his mistakes that he made as president. And I said the night that he won in 2016, Trump, that what he had to do and what he had to say in order to win and beat Hillary Clinton, and he pulled the inside straight, let's tell the truth. What he had to do and say made it possible for him to win, but made it impossible for him to govern. And that's the problem. And I think Trump has learned that lesson. If you notice recently, he's not as hyperbolic. Yeah, he says a couple of things at a rally here and there. He says, everything the woke touches turns to SHIT. Now, that's funny. He's got a great sense of, when he's in public, especially with a big crowd, a sense of the crowd, to pick the right spots. He's learned a lot in 4 years as president talking. And one thing about Trump, he's made a lot of mistakes in his life. He's been married 3 times, let's tell the truth. A lot of financial trouble in the past. He's got, some luggage from being a so-called playboy in his rhetoric. But it's funny that the press loved him until he ran for president. So that tells me that he's not so far off as people think. But I think he's toned down his rhetoric. I think this time, if he runs, it'll do 2 things. One is it will help social media immensely. I think, frankly, he'll tell Twitter to shove it and go on his own social media site and put tens of millions of people on it instantly. And number 2 is, unfortunately, the lamestream media, the dinosaur media, whatever you want to call them, will pretty much pick up money, viewers. Their ratings will increase because CNN was circling the toilet before Trump announced he was running. Same with the other ones, MSNBC and the others. It will save them temporarily, but I think what will happen is they will have to be so nasty, twice as nasty as last time, and that will finally be, as the dinosaurs found out, and when the asteroid hit the Earth, they didn't even see it coming. and then it was too late. And the asteroid is coming for the mainstream media, the legacy media. We just don't know when it's going to hit. Well, Trump will give him a small reprieve. But I digress. Most recently, Trump hinted at a possible 2024 campaign at an event in Orlando, Florida on Sunday. I said loud and clear, the former president said, we won the first time, and the second time we won by even more. And it looks like we might have to think about very strongly a third time. I wish he would get off the 2020 election. A lot of what he says I agree with, but I wish he would just drop it because there's nothing he can do about it now. Unfortunately, he surrounded himself with morons and just ridiculous characters in the days and the weeks after the November election in 2020. It made his credibility look really, really bad. Let it go. You know, it's like a bad relationship where you catch your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your wife or husband cheating. It hurts. It really sucks. But you've got to move on. You've got to move on. And I think he's smart enough to realize that. Trump has released repeated false claims about winning the 2020 presidential election since leaving in November. Despite Biden's declining approval ratings, he has still been the Democrat favorite in polls to run in 2024. And that tells you what? What does that tell you? Think about this for a minute. What does that say concerning the Democrats? They have no bench. Their bench isn't deep at all. In fact, they have none. And that's their problem. The only person they really have is maybe, I forgot the guy's name, the governor in Colorado, or Gavin Newsom. I can't think of anybody else. And I say that about the governor of Colorado because he's an unknown commodity in the country, and maybe a new face will energize the Democrat Party. But they don't have anybody. Kamala Harris is a joke. She's a cartoon character. Pete Buttigieg, he's another one. We got Elizabeth Warren, Cory Booker. My God, you got to be kidding me, right? Good Lord. You know, I'm not saying that because I'm a conservative person. Those people really and truly suck. Horrible. And I'm not talking about their personalities, because you can be a real SOB and still do a great job as a representative, either in the Senate or president. But they're crappy people, and they do a crappy job both. You know, if they did much better, I'd probably be a little bit more lenient on them, you know? Biden has said he will run for a second term despite concerns about his age. If both candidates run in 2024, Biden will be 81 years old and Trump will be 78. Yeah, but you know what? That is older. There's no question. I think Biden might be the oldest. And in fact, Trump might be older than Ronald Reagan when he first got in. I'm not sure, but that's not the point. In all fairness, if you didn't know any Biden or Trump, and they were standing next to each other and you had no idea who they were, and you looked at both, you would think that Biden was at least 20 years older. Honestly, especially now. Trump has lost some weight. He's a tall guy. You know, and longevity is not usually normal for tall people, but he seems to be doing very well. And he seems to be very healthy. And mentally, he's all there. Now, he might not like what comes out of his mouth that runs through his brain, but his brain is working fine. You just don't like what comes out of it. That's a different issue. Biden, on the other hand, stems and stutters too much. And, I mean, even myself, who's has some limited public speaking experience when I was a councilman in the early 2000s in upstate New York talking at meetings, first 6-8 months, I was terrible. I don't think I was that great in the end, but people told me I was a lot better. That I used to speak from the heart, so people listen, but you get better over time. You just learn these things. And that's one thing about Donald Trump, like I said. He's made a lot of mistakes, but one thing Trump does, he learns from his major mistakes and never does them again. If Biden doesn't run in 2024, which he won't, I'll tell you right now, it won't happen. Vice President Harris has the most support among Democrat voters for a presidential campaign at 31%, with 25% not sure who should run. Now, that's 56% between not sure and Harris. Where's the other 44%? And here's the thing. I don't know why they picked Harris. I really don't. Well, I know why, but they weren't thinking long term. That's the problem with Democrats. They're very good at their ground game, and they're very good at going after their opposition. But they use that identity politics so much they picked somebody that was a woman and non-white. Do I care if a woman's vice president? No. Do I care if a non-white person is vice president? No, I could care less. But Democrats see that first. Your race, your sex, your gender, whatever the hell you want to call it. And that's their flaw. But Harris? The problem is there was nobody of color. There was nobody else that anybody knew, unless you were inside Washington circles. There probably was several. But as far as national recognition, I mean, who were they going to pick? And now they're stuck with her. And here's the other point. How the hell is Biden going to get rid of Kamala Harris? A few weeks ago, a CNN article came out basically chastising her. And that article would have never came out without the approval of the White House and the people that are running the White House, a.k.a. President Biden. Never would have came out. So they must have gave the okay. So how are they going to get rid of her? Impeach her? Blackmail her somehow? I don't know, because if I was her, I wouldn't leave. Would you? Knowing that your chances of being president of the United States are like 98%? I'd tell them to shove it. Go down in history as a president of the United States? Come on. The egos these people have? There's no way you could turn that down. The poll was conducted on December 11th through the 13th, almost 2,000 registered voters. That's a lot. The margin of error is plus or minus 2 percentage points, which is pretty close too. So we'll say they are accurate. 60% of Democrats want to see Biden. They don't want Joe Biden. They picked Joe Biden because they don't have anybody else. The same reason why the Democrats voted for Biden in 2020. Not because they like him, is because he's not Donald Trump. The only fear that I have, if Donald Trump runs again, President Trump, to be more respectful, if President Trump runs again, he'll bring out the haters from under every rock in the world that vote on their emotion only. And just, I hate him, 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 he's a Nazi, he's a blah, 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 blah. And there's millions of them. But maybe without COVID this time, it'll be different. So if he tones it down, gets his media company going, still have the Donald Trump personality, that you never know what the hell he's going to say next, and still have the same core principles and things you want to do, I think he'll be fine. I think he's turned the corner with suburban women, which are mostly college educated. I think he's turned the corner with them. So it depends how he plays it. Biden has already shot himself in the foot. He's walking wounded. This is Trump's to lose. We'll see that if he does. I have confidence that he won't. Until the next time, goodbye and good luck.